Hey, everybody, welcome. Your saltwater guide, Captain Dave Hansen. We have a great podcast for you today. We're going back into our archives and we're bringing back one of the superstars from our podcast. Had more views than anybody else. Big time. Everybody wants to hear what he has to say. A lot of people enjoy listening to him. So we're bringing our good friend Todd Manser in for this week's podcast. And it's Deckhand Sports Friday. We always talk about Deckhand Sports on Fridays. We got a cool video we'll show you during the show. And let me check this thing out real quick. So it's the 13th of September. Kelly Girl and I are up in Alaska fishing. I pre-recorded this for you all so you could listen to Todd Manser. It's a great podcast. So kick back, relax, and enjoy this. Thanks everyone for listening, and have a great weekend. And kick back and listen to Todd. Todd, come on in. Let's see what's up. Gang, you can ask this gentleman questions today. Elliot will be putting them up on the screen. Elliot's producing the show today. So without any further ado, let's bring in my best friend on the whole planet Earth. Let's bring in Todd Manser. Let's get this thing started. Todd, welcome to the show. Kelly Girl's watching.
Hi, Kelly. Hi, Dave. Hi, Elliot. And happy Veterans Day, everybody. We live in a wonderful country here in the United States of America. And it's because of those men and women that have fought so hard for our freedom over the years. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Absolutely. Todd, you've had the opportunity now to get to know my good buddy Elliot. Tell everybody out there that's watching how quickly the power of your saltwater guide and the power of Inside the Bite has changed your business.
So it's pretty amazing. So I started talking with Elliot and understanding how to utilize your saltwater guide and collaboration with Manser Marine just a week ago. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, and Elliot helped me understand what was necessary in the post, and then how to get to the viewers through your saltwater guide. And then I will tell you, honest to God, my phone does not stop ringing. People are now recognizing what I do faster than I've ever imagined. So I've run boats my entire life. I started off as a deckhand. We're going to talk about that a little bit today. Of course, I grew into being an operator. I ran sport boats. I ran yachts. I fished marlin tournaments. I owned and operated commercial swordfish boats. My family owns and we operate a fish market that my sister operates, manages for us, doing a wonderful job. Shayla Manser, big hit. And this last several years, I started managing some boats, and I just I put the word out there, and I would tell a few friends, hey, make sure if you hear anybody, let them know that I'm available to help manage their boats, to keep them in turnkey operation all the time. And I'd get a hit there and a hit here and there. And then I started using this platform and sharing my reels and my posts through social media and your saltwater guide. And I am not kidding you. I am truly impressed, and I'm literally answering phone calls and booking new accounts daily. I've taken 7 new accounts this week, 7 new accounts. And if you guys don't know what management I do, if you own a yacht or if you own a center console, I'm now managing a 45 Everglades quad screw. It's just an absolute machine, but there's a lot to it. I make sure that everything about your boat is looked at so that when you go out and use your boat, you don't have to worry about it. Ball valves, bilge switches, high water alarms, battery levels, battery chargers, your engine fluids, your engines, the integrity of your engines, your windlasses, your air conditioners, your bait pumps, your toilets, your freshwater tanks. I take care of all that. And we set up a nice schedule and we make it affordable. And then everything that Dave and I know about the fishing industry, we get to share with you because you're now part of Manser Marine. You're part of Your Saltwater Guide. You're part of the family. You get to call and ask us anything, anytime. And if anybody knows me, I can be at dinner, sorry, honey, with my wife, and I'll answer your phone call because I find it important that I answer your questions about what's going on with your boat. And this social media platform has taken my my business to a new level. Now I still have orders. I'm sitting here on 65 Hatteras right now, and when the season comes around, hopefully we have great business. I'll be sharing my boardroom fishing charters business on social media with Your Saltwater Guide. When I get to where I'm doing my gray whale stuff, guys, I want to share with you that stuff. I mean, people don't know this about us, Dave, but how much information can we share about the animals that live here off of California?
Oh, it's pretty entertaining. But the main reason why I wanted to start the show off, Todd, was just to give accolades to you and I. Are you and I? We're always going to be us. But we could never have done any of this without Elliot Andrews. That Inside the Bite Sport is absolutely the answer to this whole thing. Elliot's going to be throwing up a QR code here, maybe today, if not today, starting next Thursday, gang. If you have a business, all I'm trying to do is let you know that there is a better way. 99.9% of the businesses today are operating at a dinosaur level. You don't have to anymore, but you're stuck in the mud and you don't understand. Social media is the answer, gang. If you look at anybody walking around right now, anybody, anywhere, they're staring at their flipping phone and they're watching videos on either TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. Every single person. And if they're telling you, oh, I'm not, baloney, you are too. We watch you all. So if you're tired of, I always say, if you're tired of sucking at fishing, but if you're tired of sucking at marketing, there is a kinder, softer, gentler way. Listen, when I started with Elliot 4 years ago, I blew the industry away. Everybody knew me in the industry, but they all were like, oh my gosh, you went from a couple thousand followers to 600,000 followers, Captain Dave. How did you do that? How do you have a live podcast that everybody watches and everybody talks about? Even the people that don't want to admit they watch it because Elliot makes it impossible to not see me. You can block me on one social media platform. I pop up on the other one, gang. As soon as you're tired of being broke, and as soon as here's something that I think is so funny about this industry. This industry is willing to take hard-earned money and give it to something out there and hope that the people that want to use your product get to see your ad. Gang, on our platform, Your Saltwater Guide, Todd, you learn this in a week once you got involved. Everybody that's watching us has something to do with fishing or boating. They want a fishing pole. They want a reel. They want to know how to take better care of their boat. They want to know how to catch a fish. They want to know how to maintain their boat. That's all and then there's all these companies that are like, well, we've been doing it this way since 1947, so we're just going to keep. No. Well, then you're not going to be making it here. I guarantee you won't be around in a year or so. This is the key, is Inside the Bite marketing company. It's the most insane. Elliot has got the recipes, figured it out. It's incredible. So you can see all the things, gang. If you don't believe me, just go down one of my posts and you'll see we have so many videos out there that have millions and millions and millions of views. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that there's people out there watching this old man, but I'm telling you, they are, and the proof is in the pudding. All you got to do is look at our social media platforms. There's Mike Lewis put out that video on Your Saltwater Guide on Instagram. It's our #1 video right now, and it's only not even 2 weeks old. It's just going absolute bananas. How to tie up the boat video, Todd. I put it out.
Yeah, I love that one.
We put it out 5 times, and it's had over 1 million views every single time. The most it's gotten is 7.5 million views. For me, it was a throwaway video. It was an absolute throwaway video deep in one of my files, and Elliot found it. And he's all, "Do you mind if I post this?" And I said, "No one's going to watch that." And he's like, because Elliot looks at stuff, gang, in a way different way. Way different way. So all I'm trying to do is let everybody out there know. And Todd and I are going to, that's enough marketing stuff for now. Todd and I are going to talk stories that we kind of baited you guys a few times in the last few episodes that Todd and I have been together. But a story I wanted to talk about, Todd, and then I want you to talk about some other stories. But they're back in the day, guy, you won't understand this looking at me today. But in the day, Todd's about 8 years younger than I am. All the kids that were younger than me in the harbor, their parents wouldn't allow them to hang out with me. I was not a good human back in the old days, in
Bad
the
influence.
70s.
My dad would say he's a bad influence.
And so,
boy, that's turned around a little bit, hasn't it?
yeah, now everybody wants their people to hang out with me. But listen, Todd and I and our other buddy, Big Dave, we used to set up a thing called the Turkey Trot in Dana Point Harbor every year. And it was a benefit. They still have it. They still have the Turkey Trot. It's on Thanksgiving. And Todd and I and Big Dave, we were called the Cone Heads. And I had a little pickup truck, and we would put all the cones out in the harbor. And we would show up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to put the cones out. Back in these days, we were not the best human beings on the well.
We were the best human beings. We just weren't taking care of ourselves.
Right. So
we were still loved and adored.
We went down to the boat and got started having some adult beverages at 3 o'clock in the morning. And then we would drive around and put out the cones, and then we would pick up the cones at the end of the race. We had a system where we would leave the driver's side door open. It would hit the cone, knock it over. Big Dave would pick it up with his foot and hand it to Todd in the back of the truck. Todd decided that he wanted to pick it up with his foot.
No, Dave was exhausted. Dave says, "I'm exhausted, Manser. You got to take over for a minute." And you didn't even slow the truck down. They were in your old Ford Ranger, that red Ford Ranger. You had the door kicked open with your foot. You didn't even slow down. I went to go straddle the bed of the truck and tell him what happened.
And he got his pants stuck in the tire, and it ripped him out of the back of the truck, but it made him like the splits. It dislocated his hip, threw him on the ground, and then I ran over him. And
and I hopped right, but we were so numb that I hopped right back in the truck, and we kept picking up cones. And by the way, guys, we're talking 5 kilometers of cones, not just 10. We had to go and unload the truck twice to be able to pick up all the cones. So, to finalize that story, we've always joked about how my hips are and how it affected me over the years. But you know what? I wouldn't take it back for a minute. You know, the fact that I do have to get a hip replacement here pretty soon, I still had a good time with Dave at the Turkey Trot.
Then there was another time, and we never really told this story, but Todd was running a boat called the Clemente, if you're familiar with my father's sport fishing operation. And I was running the Seahorse at the time, and we were catching giant squid. And
oh, yeah.
Gang, if you think about these squid, when they came to Dana, these things were like 15, 20-pound squid, right?
Yep.
They were humongous. They were 4.5, 5 feet long. They were giant squid, and we were catching the living bejesus out of them. And we weren't anchored. We were just drifting in the canyon off of Dana Point. Todd was next to me. We kind of liked to fish by each other ever since we were kids. It was kind of our thing. Yep. One of us would find something, the other one would snuggle up next to him, because that was just how we did it. Whatever boats we were running, and we're fishing and we're catching. And we're watching, because Todd's kind of loud, and he's got this phenomenal laugh. It's
thank you.
It's real. You can hear it over the generators and the engines and everything. And all of a sudden, you could hear this laugh, and everybody on my boat, and there were 60 people on my boat, look over at Todd, and Todd is screaming because there's hundreds of squid just swimming free around the boat. And he went to lean over the side to gaff one that was swimming by, and the railing of the Clemente opened up, and Todd
The gate.
straight into the water.
There it is.
There it is. And Todd had all his foul weather gear on and everything. Gang, if you look at the side of the Clemente right there, when you hit the water, there's no way to get back on the boat.
Right.
There's no way. And I'm not even making this up. And I know in those days there was a lot of stuff going on that we can't really talk about. But he hit the water, and gang, he stood on the water and got back on the boat. It was the most amazing thing you've ever seen.
I remember at Madrid Uso, as I had a gaff in my hand. Thankfully, I reached up and I gaffed the stanchion, and I pulled myself up. And as I was starting to pull myself up, because if I didn't get myself out of the water, guys, I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but these Humboldt squid will just start taking you down. And they literally were like averaging 20 pounds. Hey, cutie pie. And I remember
Hold on a second, Todd. We got a star here. Hold on. We got a star on the show. Zaya wanted to say hi to everybody. Say hi, Zaya.
Hi.
Say hello. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Bye.
Captain Dave's granddaughter. Yeah, look at you going to the pool.
Ready to go swimming.
Going to the pool. All right, Zaya. Love you. Bye.
Yeah, that was scary, falling in with those things.
Oh, yeah.
Everything that hit the water that day was devoured. Everything. And I think it was just my splash spread them out for a second, and I got out of the water before they could come back in at me.
It was crazy, gang.
Yeah.
You don't understand. I'd grab a handful of trash and throw it in the water, and they would eat every piece. And I called Todd on the radio, and I go, dude, they eat all the trash. Well, you know, Todd and I, we only do things full speed. So then we're like throwing handfuls of trash out there. They're eating all the trash. So then, this was a long time ago, so don't judge us. But I dumped the whole dang 55-gallon trash can in the water, and they ate every piece. It was the most amazing thing I'd ever seen. They took everything down. So they do that. You could imagine what they would have done to Todd if he would have been in the water for more than a few seconds.
People have to remember, back then we did not even know what a water bottle was, so everything was just paper. So it was cheeseburger wrappers and paper plates. But yeah, isn't that funny though when you think about that, Dave? That on that trip that day when we were out there fishing squid, we did not sell water bottles. If you wanted a water, you came in and got a Dixie cup out of the galley, and you drank from the holding tank.
Dang. Todd and I, we laugh about this and we talk about it a lot, but there was no, like you just said, there was no water. We didn't even drink water.
We've talked about this. We didn't drink water.
I didn't drink water till I was 30.
Yeah.
Not a drop.
Yeah.
And none of our idols did. Our dads and our uncles and stuff, they never drank water. There was no water on the boat. You drank a beer, you drank a soda, or you didn't drink anything. And that's just the way it was.
Yep. That's the way it was.
It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
You were starting to tell a good story the other day about the Tom tank. Why don't you talk about that for a minute? Because that's another phenomenal story people won't believe.
So this is a great story. So I've always said that the definition of a friend is somebody that will stop everything they're doing, wake up in the middle of the night, whatever it is, to go help out a friend. And that could be a friend broke down in their car, somebody that needs a ride home, any situation. But we had a situation to pondered how our friendship actually was, because this phone call came at about 11 o'clock at night. And by the way, we just started to use cell phones. I think we all had Nokias back then, Nokia cell phones. And I get this phone call from Dave Hansen on a ship to shore. And he says, listen, our batteries on the Tom tank are shot. We've taken care of arranging somebody to bring batteries down to Madrid Uso's boat. He's got a well-craft center console. It's full of fuel, Todd. It'll make it to San Clemente Island and back, no problem. It's slick grease. You'd be here in an hour. Can you bring us the batteries? I go, Dave, I've got 3/4 day on the Sun Fund in the morning. I got to be here at 5 in the morning. You'll be here in an hour. You'll be back in by 12:30. So I go down to the boat. The batteries are down there. Linda Cognito's set everything up for you. I go over. I fly literally an hour on this boat. I make it to San Clemente Island, maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I'm flying on this thing. I get over there. I side tie to the tom tank, and I'm already starting to think in my head, how is it that all of their batteries are shot? I'm wondering. So I hop on the boat. I go down the engine room. I pull the terminals off the battery. I clean them up, tighten them up. I say, hey, Dave, start it up. And he fires it up while I still have the brand new batteries sitting on the deck. Now, I've driven all the way out there to clean battery terminals, but it gets better. So one of the guys, Pat, needed to get back. Linda Cognito's boyfriend at the time needed to get back. So he's like, hey, Todd, I'm going to hop on that boat with you because it's, 45 knot boat. Let's haul ass back in this weather and you can get me home early. Yeah, no problem. So we take off. We get about 7 miles off the island and the boat quits. And I don't even want to, in my mind, I'm thinking there's no way this boat's out of fuel. It's got to be a problem I can fix. There's no way. Dave said there was plenty of fuel. But I was young. Hell, I was probably in my late 20s and think to check to see if it was full of fuel or to even, try to calculate miles per gallon or miles per hour that or fuel burn. And so sure enough,
hold on
fuel.
1 second.
Yeah.
Hold on. Show this Deckhand Sports video, and we'll get back with Todd in just a minute. We got to do this real quick.
Yep.
The best part. Gang, when you go over to the Deckhand Sports QR code that we're throwing up on the screen right there, you go to deckhandsports.com, you'll see all the products. They have so many products, and they have big, giant kill bags that'll hold your 300-pound bluefin, and they have little dry cases. They have everything that you could possibly need when you go fishing. They cover everything. And like Justin and I were showing the other night out there, you can even put your lobsters in these bags. These bags are leak proof. They have so many tie down spots. But Todd will tell you the biggest problem with the kill bags is there's nowhere to tie them up on our big yachts or on our small skiffs. There's just not enough tie down. Well, Deckhand Sports thought of everything. And then I don't know if you watched when they were pouring that ice in the bag, Todd, but they have ribs in there that hold the bags open, which is
that's nice.
Absolutely incredible. I'd never seen anything like it before. When I got my little bag of ribs that go in the bottom of the bed, I was like, what are these for? And the owner's like, well, you didn't look at the video. And then I looked at the video. I'm like, that is ingenious.
Absolutely.
To hold the bag open and it just keeps your fish so fresh, and there's no leaks. You can put this kill bag inside your salon and they don't leak a drop.
Not to mention having those ribs, you can keep that kill bag open, and when you're putting fish on the boat, you can get them right in that bag instantly without having to have a buddy hold the bag open.
So go and check out Deckhand Sports, gang. Those of you that are listening on the podcast, go check it out. Those of you that are watching on Facebook or YouTube, grab the QR code, get over there, get your 15% off on your order, and get somebody in your family their kill bag of their dream kill bag for Christmas or the holidays or whatever you celebrate. Grab a kill bag and get it going. Gang, thanks for watching that video. And Todd, get back into finishing this story because it's going to start to get really good now. You're not even going to believe what's happening.
So going back, I've gotten on the tom tank. I've quickly assessed that the battery terminals were just corroded and not getting enough amperage to the starter. So they fire up the tom tank. We fire up Madrid skiff. We take off, hauling butt back to the mainland here in Dana Point, and I mean it's just absolutely a mirror lake, just perfect conditions. And we get 7 miles off San Clemente Island, and the boat quits. The boat just dies, and I don't want to even think of the fact that this boat may have run out of fuel. Well, it did, but we've got a flare kit. We've got all sorts of stuff on the boat. We've got a radio. The batteries are good. And the Tom tanks behind us coming home on the same heading, like identical heading. Like they'll have to run into us. So no problem. We got this. So we're trying to call them on the radio, trying to call Tom Tank. Tom Tank, you read this? Hey, come on. Dave, you read this? Robbie was on there, the owner. Robbie, read this. Nobody's coming back to us. Now I see them coming. We were going so fast that, it took them a half an hour, 40 minutes before they got 7 miles off the island, 9-knot boat. And so finally, here they are. They're almost right next to us. I'm shooting flares off at them. They're getting to where they're about maybe 100 feet from us, coming right down the side. And I look, and they just drive right on by. I don't even see anybody. There's nobody even in the wheelhouse. They just, Robbie was driving the boat, I think, and went downstairs to do something and just missed the fact that we were sitting there floating. And oh my God, there goes our ride. There goes the Tom Tank. Now we're out here. We're 40 plus miles offshore, floating in a big center console. That was a giant center console that he had back then. And I've got, the only thing to do is I got to go on channel 16 and call Vessel Assist. So a couple hours later, Vessel Assist shows up to the site, and they start towing us. And if you guys have ever been towed in by Vessel Assist, you know that they don't tow you at 20 knots. They don't tow you at 10 knots. They tow you at about 6 knots. So I'm thinking to myself, there ain't no way that I'm making it back in time to run the 3/4 day boat. So I start trying to figure out all sorts of different ways to get to the boat. I finally get to where we're about 20 miles off the beach, and I get a hold of Tommy Pearson from Pearson's Port. If you guys want fresh seafood out of Newport Beach, under the bridge going into the Pearson's Port's the place to go. Tommy came out and picked me up, and I literally stepped off of Tommy's boat on the dock, onto the sump fund, fired it up, and headed to the bait receiver. Unbelievable.
Absolutely. What a great. What happened was when the owner took over the boat, he's all, "Hey, go downstairs, go to sleep. I got this. I'm going to take my boat back to the dock." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not going to fight with the boss. I'm going to go downstairs and go to sleep." So I didn't even think for a second that he would run over Todd. But he literally, Todd could have jumped on his boat because it was on.
We were so close. I'm like, we're screaming, "Hey!" Right on by.
Oh my goodness. And I didn't even know because we didn't have cell phones. So I didn't even know till that afternoon when Todd got in from his trip. I'm like, "What happened?
What happened?" I was so mad at you. Go back to the definition of a friend. A friend will do anything for you. And that was just part of being a good friend. We've had a lot of good times over the years, and we've seen a lot of neat things. And that's a good story to tell, the story of the Tom Tank and being left out there in the middle of nowhere.
There's so much fun stuff, and there's stuff that we should never talk about, and we won't talk about. Yeah. Maybe we'll do a midnight show once you could pay to watch. Listen.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, pay-per-view.
Yeah, it'd be pretty funny. But gang, I've been blessed to have the Mansers in my family since I was a little kid. Todd's father was a legend, and his Uncle Larry. If you guys don't know who Uncle Larry is, during the Jaws time, when the movie Jaws was out, Uncle Larry was commercial fishing swordfish, and he started harpooning white sharks, and it was a huge, huge thing. And Todd, talk about Uncle Larry for a little bit, because it was a huge thing, and he would bring these white sharks into Dana Point alive. It was incredible.
So he wasn't just so you guys know, my uncle and my dad were a great part of helping protect great white sharks. And part of what was happening back then was this new understanding of great white sharks because of the movie Jaws. So Steven Spielberg wrote a movie that had us afraid to even stick our toes in the water, Jaws. Shortly afterwards, because of everybody's interest in the man-eater, my dad and my uncle were hired by Marineland and by SeaWorld to collect great white sharks so they could do necropsies on these animals to find out a little bit more about them. And they didn't take dozens. They took a few, but the ones that they did harvest for necropsies were giant. They were massive. And at one point, we had one suspended in ice in SeaWorld that was about 17 feet long for everybody to see. It was just an amazing display. And everybody wanted to know if they were going to find license plates, tires, and human parts in these great white sharks. And the only thing that we really found inside of great white sharks were seals and sea lions. That was it. That, once they got large, it was all about seals and sea lions. Chris Lowe runs the Great White Shark Research Program on the West Coast. And he's done a phenomenal job of helping people understand how amazing these animals are, how vulnerable these animals are, their migration. I've taken part in helping people understand how amazing great white sharks are. But my Uncle Larry and my dad were in the 1970s and early 80s a great part of helping study great white sharks by not only collecting for these necropsies, these scientific researches, but also allowing the understanding through observers on board to notice the bycatch of juvenile great white sharks in set gill nets along the intercoastal waters of California. So we've always had a lot of juvenile great white sharks here in Southern California. And one of the reasons why we don't see a whole bunch of nets in the water is because guys like my dad and my uncle were there to support the protection of this animal and help ban set gill nets from a very vulnerable ecosystem, the coastal waters of Southern California.
Well, that was a great interview with Todd. I want to thank you all for watching this. I hope you enjoyed this interview with Todd. There was so much more to it. You can go back and watch it on our YouTube channel at Your Saltwater Guide. But hey, gang, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you all when we get back next week from our trip to Alaska. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Todd. Give him a call. Get with Manser Marine if you got any problems with your boat. Kelly and I are having the time of our lives up in Alaska, and I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I really enjoyed my time with my buddy Todd. He's just a wealth of information. Have a great day. Be kind to each other. Turn off the news. Everyone's lying. This is the only place you get the truth. YourSaltwaterGuide.com. It's been a pleasure. Thank you all very, very much. And we'll try to get to your comments if we can. Have a great day. Turn off the news, and I'll see you all next week on the 19th. I'll be in town, but we got some good podcasts coming up for you next week, Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. So there'll be plenty of stuff for you to look at. I promise you I won't let you down.